Last night, I found myself thinking back on a lot of different things in my life that I've experienced that really hurt me, really broke me down, really destroyed my self-image, my self-worth. For the past couple months or so, I've been noticing that I would find myself thinking back on a lot of different hurtful things that I've experienced and went through in my life. It was almost as if I kept feeling forced to go back and forced to sit in that old hurt, an old hurt that I had been running away from, an old hurt that I had been afraid to honestly accept. I thought I could just skate through my pain, skate through all that heartbreak, skate through all that shame, and get to the other side. Like I've said in one of my previous videos before, I truly felt as though I had PTSD concerning my past. And I say felt because today is a new day. For years, I was afraid to really sit in that pain. I was afraid to really go back. I was afraid to voice my truth. I was waiting on the right counselor, the right therapist, the right person to help walk me through it, bring me through it, help me to see it. I would watch Iyanla Vanzant, and she would tell people to go back and sit in that pain. And there would be resistance with those people. They didn't want to do it. And once they did, the screams, the tears, the cries, you could feel that person's pain. I got in the car last night, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and I just took off driving, still thinking back on everything that I've been through, thinking back on how it made me feel, and being truthful, being honest about it, holding back nothing. I remember I said, God, it feels as though I'm supposed to sit in this pain so that I could make peace with it. And then before I could finish the thought, Jesus interceded and said, so that you can walk into the new. And that's when it truly hit me. God is waiting on me. God is waiting on you to truly sit in what it is that you experienced, to truly bring to him how it is that it made you feel. I was honest. I said, God, I felt like you broke my heart time and time again. I was angry at you. I was mad at you. And if I'm being completely honest, I felt like I hated you. I felt silly for believing in you. I felt silly for calling myself a Christian, because deep down in my soul, deep down in my heart, I felt as though I hated you. I was rageful against you. I was angry. Listen, I felt so heartbroken by what it was that I was going through, because I said, God, how could you allow this? How could you allow me to experience what I'm experiencing? And you say that you love me. And you say that I've been chosen by you. Whew. So in the middle of the night, I found a random street, and I was screaming, praising, crying out to God, laying it all at his feet. On my way back, I said, God, please let me know if I am fully cleansed of the past. God said, you are fully cleansed and ready to walk in the new. You are fully cleansed and prepared for the new. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. Before I took that ride, I was feeling so stuck, feeling so alone, feeling so trapped, feeling that back against the wall anxiety, feeling that back against the wall pressure. And I felt myself trying to get upset. I felt myself getting frustrated. I was scrolling up and down YouTube, honestly not even wanting to listen or hear a prophetic word. And so I ran across this video that I just keep seeing. And I'm going to insert a screenshot of the video. But what would stick out to me the most about even the thumbnail, the title, is the 777, total restoration, the waterfall, and the rainbow. Because God has been using rainbows to represent the promise still standing. The promise still being a promise. I've been seeing waterfalls. I've been seeing fire hydrants with water shooting out of them. And God has been using that to represent overflow, abundance, more than you can ever ask or think. So I watched the video, and it just put a spark back in me. But I was still talking through these different moments in my life, saying how ashamed I felt, how broken I felt, how empty I felt. Being honest about how it made me feel, hearing people talking about me, hearing people judging me, hearing people saying I'm disappointed in you, hearing people saying I thought you would turn out to be something better than that, hearing people say you ain't worth the, hearing people say you ain't about. I was trying my best to really sit in it, but I was scared. I was afraid. So I just took a drive. So as I said, as I was praising, God confirmed to me that yes, I do need to sit in the pain before I can move on to the future. Not saying that I gotta unpack everything and be healed right in that moment instantly, although I did. And now do feel a different type of peace about what it is I've been through and experienced. I knew that that wasn't exactly what God was asking me to do. He was just requiring me to sit in it, requiring me to be honest about it. So I'm going down the street in my neighborhood, and I pass by this church. The church is called New Life Church. And so it reminded me of a while back. I was on a fast. I was praising, praying, crying, driving down the street. I had never really paid this church any attention, never really paid this church any mind. And God just said, look up and read the name of that church. And it was New Life. So fast forward last night, in that moment, I remember God bringing that to my attention. New Life. I have been saying, I really want to go to church. Because I don't know where else to praise. I don't know where else I can go to shout, scream, get loud, crawl on the floor, lay out on the floor, and not be so-called judged. Or not have people looking at me saying, do we need to call the police? Is she good? So God impressed on my spirit to go to that church. By this time, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, Lord, I don't know how I'm going to lay down for a little bit and get right back up, because that is not my ministry. But I said, God, I'm going to set my alarm. And if you want me at this church tomorrow, I will be there. I got up. I was tired, but I pressed through. I was laying there like, do I really want to go? Is it really that important? And I remembered that familiar tug, that familiar pull. When I would go to church, and it would always be those times when I really didn't want to go, but end up pushing my way and going anyway, that something big would happen. They were talking about the parable of the lost son. Something that really stood out to me and just truly just grabbed a hold of my spirit was Luke 15:22. At this point, the son had came home. He was feeling all guilty, feeling all ashamed. He was ready to explain. He had his apology in order. He was expecting to be rebuked, expecting to be turned away, expecting to not be accepted. And 15:22 says, But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the best robe. And when I heard that, and he taught the message altogether, total restoration. He literally said a total restoration. I'm like, what are the odds? People have been emailing me, and it's like almost every person that emailed me, in their email was 777. I'm reading people's comments, and all I see is 7. If you hear my stomach growling, I'm hungry. I haven't ate anything today, and I'm not finna keep pausing and stopping this video. But I'm like, why do I keep seeing 777? I'm like, I know that's like a popular number, you know, for Christians and everything like that. But I'm like, why do I keep seeing 777? But as he's saying, total restoration, best robe, bring the best robe. Talking about how the father ran after his son. It reminded me of the last time that I came home. I remember I was in the middle of my sin, in the middle of confusion, in the middle of going my own way. Of this year, only a few months back, and God said, just come home. Just come home. He knew that I was searching for peace. He knew I was searching for joy. He knew I was searching for a remedy to this pain. A remedy to this pain. So as I heard him reading the scriptures of the son coming home, being welcomed home again, it reminded me how when I decided to get back up, pick my cross back up, pick my ministry back up, pick my calling back up, pick my purpose back up, that God stood there in open arms. In fact, he came running for me. He came running for me, arms wide open, ready to receive his child. I was ready to repent and this and that and cry out at his feet. God was like, listen, I don't need to hear it. There's been some times I acted a fool. Now I was coming back to God with a repentant heart, ready to repent, ready to ask for forgiveness. And he said, listen, I don't need to hear all that. I don't. Keep it, save it. I don't even care. I've already forgiven you. I've already forgiven you. I've already washed you clean. The best robe. The best robe. Total restoration. Listen, I praise that church down. But that's a whole nother video. So I'm in the car, I'm leaving church, I'm praising. God had already put one of my favorite restaurants since I moved to Houston on my heart. And he was like, go eat, go celebrate. I'm like, okay, let's do it. But as I was on my way, he impressed it on my heart to go to this doctor's office. The doctor's office that I last went to. And I'm like 20, almost 30 minutes from that place. I'm almost at my destination. I'm almost at the restaurant. This doctor's office is 20, almost 30 minutes behind me. I gotta turn around, but I said, okay, God, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why I'm going. I don't even care to ask. But I was just praising. I put it in my GPS and I went on about my way. Oh, Jesus. Oh. And as I'm passing up these familiar streets, because it's in an area that I don't go to. I'm never in this area. Ever. In fact, I've only came out to this area to come to this place. And so I'm getting closer. In my heart, I didn't even speak anything with my mouth. I didn't even speak anything with my mouth, but with my heart began to wonder. My heart began to question. I wonder what it is that God is doing. And God said to me, I'm creating a monument. I'm creating a monument. And I'm like, a monument? So I decided to look up the definition of monument. And so the first thing that I saw was gravestone. Monument is a structure commemorating something. Then I decided to look up gravestone, which said something along the lines of something placed at a grave. So then I look up grave, the definition of grave, and it's a place of burial of a dead body. And when I read that, burial of a dead body, I knew why God was bringing me to this place. I knew why God was bringing me to this place. I knew why God chose to make this a monument, to make this a place commemorating me. You don't even know that your establishment is in commemoration of me. Ooh. My God. Ooh. Listen, I used to come to this place begging them to understand my pain. I used to come to this place begging them to hear me, begging them to listen to me. This is one of the only pain management doctors. This is one of the only pain management doctors in the Houston area. One of the only that accepts my insurance, at least. There was only 2 places in the whole Houston area. And if anybody lives in Houston, if anybody's ever been to Houston, you know how big Houston is. Only 2 places. I had already been denied from the first. This was my last, what I thought was my last resort. I've seen well past over 20 different doctors, 20 different specialists. I've been to the ER well past 20 different times for pain, for migraines. Waking up every single day, sleeping through the night in pain. 15 years. 15 years. And when I came to this place, I thought that my new life was beginning. When I came to this place, I thought I was finally about to get the medication, the remedy for my pain. These people up here were so nasty. Their attitude was so nasty. Nasty. Looking back, I know why they couldn't stand me. Looking back, I know why I agitated them. I would come out here. I would have my speech prepared. I would have notes written out, what I wanted to say, how I was going to get across to them my pain. I would be in there crying, telling them, look, I can't work a job. I just had to stop going to college. I'm barely taking a bath. I'm barely taking my son a bath. Listen, I need help. I need you to help me. And I was nothing but a cash cow. They gave me morphine. They gave me this. They gave me that. Nothing was working. I'm talking about took the morphine. Didn't even feel it. Took the Percocet. Didn't even feel it. Didn't even feel it. I said, this is doing nothing for my pain. They'll give me something else. They only tried like 3 medications. That third time they said, if this medication don't work, if this medication don't work for you, we can't help you. If this I remember she was like, if this doesn't help you, then Miss Jones, I don't know what to tell you. We can't help you here. no compassion, no care. I used to have to take Medicaid rides out here. This place is like 45 minutes from my house. Whole car ride in pain. Just to get here and get no help. No help. It was times I would come out here, wouldn't even be in this place for 5 minutes. And I'm out of that face. They're paid. And I'm in pain. They're eating good. They're paying their bills. And I can't even get through training. Devastated. I was devastated. I would leave here devastated. Hurting. Soul, spirit crushed. Then it would always be traffic. Sometimes it would take an hour and 45 minutes to get home. Just stuck in traffic. Body burning up in pain. In pain. Getting home feeling like I just did a 12-hour shift on my feet in pain. And I remember one particular car ride home. I was just in the back. I was crying. I was trying to cry as quietly as I could. I didn't want that person to ask me what was wrong. I was just like, God, why? It's one thing to be in pain, but when you don't even have a way to intervene, when nothing is working, that's a different type of hurt. That's a different type of suffering. That's a different type of brokenness. Broken. I was like, God, why did you betray me like this? Why do you hurt me like this and you say that you love me? And I remember God said to me on that car ride, watch what I'm about to do. And you won't even need medication. Watch what I'm about to do. And you won't even need medication. This was a year ago. I was at this place a year ago. I thought the promise was dead a year ago. I didn't see no life in that promise a year ago. I was on the couch. My son coming. I'm hungry. Can you play with me? A year ago, 2020. God said, go back to that place and bury the dead body. Go back to that place. Put to rest that old pain. And yes, I'm still in pain. But this is just a residue. Yes, I'm still in pain. But I do what I want freely. Freely, with no restrictions. I get up and I cook freely with no restrictions. I get up and I play with my son freely with no restrictions. With no restrictions. God said, come to the grave site. When I just went home to Dallas a couple months ago, and I was riding through Mesquite, passing by Town East Mall, and I was in the car with an old friend. He didn't have a clue. And he didn't even know. He was driving me through all the old places that are now dead. And I'm just looking at all these different places I used to go, the high school I used to go to out there. And I was breathing heavy. I was feeling anxiety. I wanted to get out that car and run. I wanted to run from that place. But at the same time, it was a satisfaction there. It was a peace there. It's something about seeing that old place again. It's something about being able to stand at these old places once again. I looked in this doctor's office. Everything looks just the same. I feel my pain here. In the moment, I won't remember this pain. I have to have a monument. I didn't know what it was that I felt riding through Mesquite, riding through my old neighborhoods. But it was commemoration. The life I lived, living there at that time in my life, 10th grade, if it wasn't for that place still being there, I wouldn't even believe it. I wouldn't even believe it. Because things are just so much different now. I can hardly even believe it. And the crazy part about it, before I got there, before I came there, I said, I need to see this place. I looked on maps. And I viewed up and down different streets as if I was there. Because I said, God, I gotta see it. I gotta see this place that I once was. Maybe then it'll feel real for me. Maybe then I could grasp that this was real. That I didn't just make it up like they tried to tell me. Like it wasn't just me seeking for attention. It wasn't just me saying, woe is me. But it was real. That pain was real. That heartbreak was real. That depression was real. And there's a monument in place of it. I went to church, to New Life Church. I walked in one person. I came out a newborn baby. I went in, my God. I went in with a 15-year sentence. A 15-year sentence. I'm only 27 years old. I walked in with a 15-year sentence and came out a newborn baby. Fresh life. Fresh life. And God said, come to where I buried you. Come to where I laid you to rest. Come and sit at this place in memory of what is now no longer. I was so afraid to sit in that pain. I was so afraid to go back and allow myself to process that pain, that hurt, that torment. It was more than just physical pain. Pain sounds like such a petty word. I was tormented 15 years. Never ending. But it ended. It ends today. Whether it's fully manifested in the physical or not, I know that it ends today. On my way over here, God says the reason why you've been feeling stuck, the reason why you've been feeling like there's a block. Last night before I took a drive, I was in my journal saying, I feel like there's a block in the spirit. And I thought that God said that the enemy could not block me any longer. But this block felt bigger than the enemy. And I was confused. But on my way to my gravesite, on my way to a monument in commemoration of me. God said, I've been holding back the blessing. I've been holding back the new life. The reason why you feel so stuck, the reason why you feel such a block is because you arrived ahead of time. God says, don't sweat it. You were just prepared way ahead of time. Here you thought, have you ever thought you was going to be late? Have you ever put the pedal to the metal, pushing it? I gotta get to this place. Just to get there and realize I'm actually way too early. I'm actually here too soon. But the promise still stands. The appointment still stands. God said, now you're just waiting on the appointed time, the perfect time. You have to plan a proposal at the perfect time. You have to plan a surprise party at the perfect time. You have to have time perfected. And all of a sudden, you look up and boom, the floodgates of heaven. All of a sudden, God steps out the way and boom. Just like God had been showing me with these fire hydrants. I remember I was just pulled over on the side of the road, just staring at this fire hydrant. And God was just ministering to me. Do you see all that water? Do you see the pressure? Do you see how it's shooting out almost to the other side of the street? People see a fire hydrant, they don't pay it any mind. They don't see it as powerful. They don't realize the pressure behind it. It's pressure behind that pain. It's pressure behind that suffering. It's overflow right after this. There is abundance. Abundance. Overflow. Never before seen. At the appointed time, total restoration will spring forth. Allow God to walk you through how to sit in that pain, how to sit in those violations, how to sit in those heartbreaks. Go back in time. Put it all out on the table. Put it all out on the table so that the enemy has no footholds. So the enemy has no way of creeping back through your old pain, through a hidden trauma. Lay it all out at the table before God. And after you make peace with the old, God will walk you into the new life. A life of total restoration.